Morning, good evening.
Good
Yeah, I
morning.
know. Good morning.
A blessed solstice, brightly illuminated for everyone.
Yes.
This is our solstice, a part of our solstice celebration being together.
Yes.
Leah's on foot.
Some reason I'm guided not to have it on Facebook Live, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay, all
Just
right.
for us. So
Should I do the introduction then, Mynoo?
yes, go ahead.
Okay. So tonight is I feel is some new information for all of us in our series of the human miracle. We're now at number 34 or 52, and this is tonight. Mynoo Maryel is going to cover the vibrant vitality triangle. Mynoo's sharing with us the three balances to be harmonized for perfect vibrant vitality: a chemical balance, mechanical balance, and electrical balance. She also will be sharing with us specific actions we can take to restore those where they have been lost or diminished. What impact has this on our overall well-being? Mynoo?
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. So as always, Sarah, this is a transmission and it kept interactive, where you are an archetype representation of other humans. So any thoughts that come in or any questions that you might have, you just can interrupt, and we'll take it from there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Mynoo, just a quick question. Do we know who 917 is?
I think there is someone who always joins in.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so, we've all heard about the deadly triangle, and there's a great deal of interest in finding ways in which we are able to support ourselves with the deadly triangle. I've heard so many, nutritionists talk about it, doctors talk about it. It's quite well known, the deadly triangle being, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, and everything else that goes with it. So I was super excited in this journey of ours on the human miracle, where we are looking at, the 12 building blocks, and there are various things that are related to each of these building blocks. And that this vibrant vitality triangle is what is being anchored through our session today. And the fact that something like this even exists was super exciting. Because what I do know is, at this time, in this era of this planet's evolution, triangle is it's an important sacred geometry symbol. And it is as if, whatever is in the center of that triangle really gets anchored. It pulls in magnetically through the three corners of the triangle whatever resources are needed for this triangle, or for what is in the center to amplify. So triangle as a sacred geometry symbol at this time on the planet, and it'll continue for this whole age, is an amplifier, has a power to magnetize and amplify. So, our guidance overall is, create a triangle. Could be a triangle of collaborators, or a triangle of places before you put yourself in the center of it, because you will magnetize and amplify whatever that is. So the vibrant vitality triangle was a good one. So my whole thing was, okay, what's the unify? I got mechanical, chemical, and electrical. I got the mechanical, chemical, electrical. So for me, it was like, okay, what is the connector between these? What is it that unifies these three apexes of this triangle? And it was balance, like, finding a balance. And balance, as you know, I'm already like I'm already not very much into balance, because I feel balance is what gets us out of balance. So my guidance from Spirit was, for humans, yes, it does, because you bring so much thought in. There's no thought in these three subject matters that we are talking about. When humans engage in activity that brings about the balance in these three labels, they actually harmonize. Humans get into a state of harmony, whilst these three labels actually are brought into balance. Balance in this way is much more about whatever different pieces that form that particular label are all are all perfectly synchronized and balanced. And the humans in the center experience a state of harmony. And it is being in this perennial ability to be in a perennial state of harmony within ourselves in a full spectrum way is the secret to vibrant vitality. So, okay, that made sense to me on my logical brain side. And so I started allowing myself to dive deeper into each of these, starting with mechanical. So mechanical is you could say it's akin to physical. You can actually feel it, you can touch it. It's very, very mechanical in that way. You can understand that there are mechanics to it. It's quite visual. It may be hidden, like if you have a tumor, then it is a mechanical issue, but because it does exist, you may not be able to see it. It may be inside your body, but it's very much there, and it is visible. It does, create very specific physical discomforts, and using certain gadgets and stuff, you can see it. So when you have a mechanical imbalance, then it shows up in a physical way, and in a variety of ways it shows up. So the mechanical imbalance, the first thing really was that of the full spectrum of our six cylinders, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental, where does it actually show up? It shows up in our physical being. Where does it originate? It originates often in environment, in social, and to a small extent in the emotional. If you are to remedy that, do we go to where it shows up, or do we actually work on the mechanics itself? So to bring about a mechanical balance, my guidance has been that you work on the mechanical, on the physical stuff, and examine the other cylinders with a view to enriching the support that your physical transformation calls for. So on the physical side, let's look at what are the different experiences that we may have. On the physical side, we're really looking at the three systems, flow systems, organ systems, life force systems. And it shows up in actual physical discomfort, physical illnesses of different kinds, And that could be in the flow systems, lymph node blockages, swollen lymph nodes, glands. It could be in terms of your circulatory system. And where the mechanical balance really does, illuminate itself is in actual physical side itself, in terms of, skin disorders, hearing disorders, visual disorders, growths, tumors, various other things that actually really hamper the mechanical workings of this human body. So what are the various things that we could do to support that? So this is where some of the practices, such as yoga or Pilates, things that really help us increase our confidence and balance, for example. Yoga has many, many, many different asanas that support you with your balance. Keeping the health and vitality of your spine really helps your balance. Helps your whole demeanor itself, because the spine is what keeps us vertical. It was, when I was working through this, it was quite confusing, but I'm like looking at all living things and stuff. And I kept being brought back to, we're going to focus this on the human miracle, because you have the solutions to everything. So what are the different mechanics? Your muscular, the health of your muscles plays a very important role in this, because it is the muscles that support the skeletal system. So whatever it is that you can do to get the toning of your muscles, internal muscles and external, is extremely important for this. So a very important aspect of this mechanical balance are ways in which we move ourselves, physical movement of our bodies. Bringing in a lot of aggression to that movement doesn't necessarily serve us. So doing things that are nonviolent gives the body the space to start auto-correcting itself. Now, for some people, my son is one of those, they're so used to, from such a young age, doing the circuit training. To me, that is like so aggressive and seriously violent to my body. But for him, pushing himself beyond that limit and having that little bit of pain that comes from that level of exercising, to him, that gives him a lot of joy. And if he doesn't get that, he doesn't feel that his body is moved enough. And he feels really stuck and clogged inside. So, having had several discussions around this, I got that, okay, it's important for me not to become too attached to what is this non-violent way of moving our body. What does that actually mean? I mean, even in what he does, some of the ways where he goes in excess of what his body wants is aggression. But he will do what he does, and he will listen to this when he's ready to listen to this. The important thing is you establish for yourself what is that non-violent threshold. Movement is a given. Finding ways to move your body, one, it gives you a very good mechanical check of what's going on. And It also allows your cells that are newly formed very nicely harmonize with those that already exist, getting the energy signatures to that might not be in service of your highest good to start getting diluted as new cells come in. And that's where you can use some of your emotional and mental prowess to support that process. So movement. Different types of different colors in terms of the colors that you see around you, the colors that you have in the vistas, the color that may be there in various vantage points. And you consciously even noticing those colors in your environment support your mechanical balance. Each color has its own healing properties. Doing it with conscious awareness supports your mechanical balance. So, for example, red, yes, it is the color of the base chakra, and it is the color of forward movement. Forward movement with the intention of gaining momentum. That is the power of color red. So, and color orange, and the various derivatives of orange, from saffron or the slightly muted one that you've draped around you, Sarah, today, they're all in the orange realm. The healing ability of orange is all about bringing you back to your own identity of you are a soul being, your I am identity. That's the healing power of the color orange. The color gold or yellow and other derivatives of that yellow and gold color, their healing power is to dissolve fear. That's the healing power there. The healing power of the color green is to dissolve grief and anchor you in a space of safety. Dissolves grief and you feel safe again. That's the healing power of the color green. And that's the effect trees have on us. The healing power of the color blue is it opens you up to recognize your own worth and gives you the confidence. So it heals you in terms of literally opens you up, reconnects you to your worthiness, so dignity comes in, and confidence is anchored. Confidence to express that worthiness. That's the healing power of the color blue. The healing power of the color purple or violet is all about anchoring you in your inner wisdom. The healing power of the color white and different derivatives of that, including the rainbow spectrum, is all about connecting or healing you to connect and open yourself up to receive cosmic wisdom. The healing power of the color black, would you believe, is it shuts off all the noise and immediately anchors you in your inner illumination. I didn't know this at all, but I totally have these experiences in Bali. And, several of you have been to Bali with me. And Sarah, we went to some amazing places, and there are places in Bali where, even now, where when you go to those places and you're away from the whole touristy trail, and it is, let's say it's one of those, new moon nights, it's pitch dark, completely dark. All you hear are sounds of nature of different kinds. So in those moments is where I understood the power of color black. And before, I used to press that floodlight that we used to have, a tiny little torch, or even those tiny little phones used to have a light feature, which was super bright. And then at one point, my phone ran out of battery and I didn't have any light. And the last thing I had seen was, I had come down this major series of steps, and then, like walking through the mud and all, into this area where there was this free-flowing water, which was so delicious tasting water. It was amazing, amazing, amazing. And it was nighttime. And then it was time to get out, and we had our driver with us. And he said to us, we don't have to go back up. We can actually keep going, and we'll come to a village. And if we cross the rice fields, then on the other side, we actually get to the top of the hill that we've come down from. So it's about a, half an hour, 40-minute walk, which is fine because the weather was really nice. And we start walking, and it was quite amazing to walk through the village. And there was a little bit of ups and downs that we were doing, and it was fine. All of that was okay. There was a light here and there and stuff. And we had our phone that was guiding us until we get to this point where now the only thing that we see is rice fields. So we are at that point where across the rice field is the starting point where we came down from. So it was like, okay, but that wasn't a straightforward rice field. It was like a collection of rice fields. So you had to like go straight, left, right, like that. And the right, and it wasn't a barren rice field either. The grass had started to grow. So it was a rice field that was active. So even in rice fields, for humans to be able to walk through, they have little mounds of earth that they make, which becomes that little bit of a walkway for humans to go through. And it's usually meant for the duck herds, or it's meant for those harvesters to come in and start harvesting. So we just saw that. There were 3 of us. We just saw, okay, that's where it is. And the phones went dead. And it was pitch dark. Pitch dark. Couldn't see anything. Could not see even each other. So we had to stand very close together. So through the breath, we could feel the heat. And then they were like, okay, Mynoo, what are we going to do? You're the one who knows how to get out of here now. And it was at that point that the only thing I could think of at that point was to follow my guidance. And the guidance was close your eyes. And I closed my eyes. And what I got was, look into the darkness with your eyes closed. And I just pretended as if my eyes are closed and I'm looking through. I'm looking through nothing. I'm just seeing darkness. And then the guidance was, open your eyes. I opened my eyes, put your hands in like a cup over them, which I did. And suddenly I see the light within me. And I actually start seeing my own inner illumination. It was pretty awesome, actually, to see how lit up we are within. And then I opened my eyes. I couldn't see anything again. And a little bit of confidence got shaken. I went back and did the same drill, closed my eyes, put my hand, looked into the darkness, put my hand over it, relaxed. I saw my inner illumination, and then focused that inner illumination into my third eye region. And with the eyes closed, and but the 3 of us were sticking to each other just so that we could feel at least our breath, we came out the other side. So the power of the color black is connecting us to our illumination. Now, it may be that intuitively, that there was a trust that got developed. It didn't look like as if I was seeing the pathway, but I was knowing the pathway. So it was very, very clear. I just knew the next step that I was going to put was going to be exactly where it's meant to be. And there was no backwards and forward. We literally just went that way through those pathways. So this is like early on in my spiritual awakening, and I had started avoiding the color black, thinking black equals, not it's not good to have so much black. And then when I saw what the power of black, it's like, okay, it's a good color to work with. And really, I mean, it's like, who the hell are we to judge anything, If it's coming in our field, if you're drawn to it, there has to be something, some healing ability, just like the indigenous believe that when you dream of an animal or you see an animal all of a sudden, it's there as a medicine for you. Understand what that medicine is. The same thing applies, particularly in terms of mechanical balance with the colors. So then, my next question was, is there a role for gray? Or is that just something in vanity that we go into? There is a role for gray. Gray has this very unique healing ability of literally, it's like you have a cloud and you put a prick it and the cloud just bursts. It's sort of like that. It has that pricking ability of wherever you may be feeling cloudiness or clogginess in you. Gray just pricks that and it disappears. It's quite liberating. So to bring about this mechanical balance, how do you use these colors in your daily life? You actually use it mechanically, even for mechanical balance. So the kind of foods you eat. Be consciously aware that you're able to see the colors in the food you eat. So constantly cooking the food makes most of the food browny, like sort of brown. And you stop seeing the colors. So then imagine that this food was that color at one point in its life. Well, no, you're actually seeing brown. You haven't got the healing of the color in that. And brown, its healing quality is grounding. Very good for electrical balance, which we're going to talk about next. So have a collection of, it doesn't have to be in every meal. It could be that one meal you have a good collection. That collection of colors comes in through fruit, through salads, very, very easy, very readily available too. Now, when I'm traveling in India in certain parts, I can't always get salads, and it's not necessarily even advisable to eat salads, given that the water may be contaminated in which the salad is washed. But fruit I can certainly get. And I can use my own bottled water with this plastic and all to wash it if I don't have a glass bottle with me. And I can just dry it up with a tissue or whatever it is that I have. So you will always you can find this collection. So that is one way, quite an obvious way, and it is about daily. Give yourself permission to be drawn. Don't become, again, no aggression. Keep yourself very nonviolent. How do you keep yourself very nonviolent? In the context of choices you make. So if on a particular day, you're being called towards yellow, stop beating yourself up. Oh, I'm just being too greedy because I want to eat so many mangoes. Well, it may just be you're drawn to it because there is some healing that is required in that aspect of your mechanical balance. I loved mango. To me, it was like nobody can stop me from eating mangoes. I mean, that is not being compromised. And I didn't mind not eating mangoes throughout the year and finding ways in which I could come to India during the mango season and really taste the mangoes of the season. Now, I've been here. I've been here in the mango season. This year, my body isn't asking for yellow in the food through mangoes. So I haven't actually had a single mango so far. And I'm not feeling deprived of it or anything. It is all fine. Nobody's asked me not to eat it. I can. But it's really lovely when you get into the space of the vibrant vitality triangle, because you come into harmony yourself, then nothing pulls you excessively towards anything. You can truly observe, enjoy, choose, decide, and rejoice. I make a conscious choice when it comes to salads. I make a conscious choice to, like there are certain vegetables. So for example, typical things you can have in a salad are cucumber, carrots, tomatoes, greens. And that in itself is at least 4 different colors, or at least 3 different colors: orange, red, green. And then, okay, what if I actually got my color healing through just the salads that I eat? I'm not going to have any fruit today. I'm at home. I'm going to make the most of having these salads. So I might add some radish to it to get the white in. I might choose to find blueberries and have them separately from salad, probably an hour or so before salad. Adding black to salad usually tends to be one of those very fine, like arami seaweed. Not a lot of it, just a little arami seaweed I would add to it. That could be the black in the salad. So you know, and that way very soon, you've got everything. The orange, it comes from the carrots, red tomatoes, beetroot can be an even further extension of the red. So you decide how that is all going to blend in for yourself through food. And which is why, in the eating pattern I talk about, your plate 1 is raw. Having fruit till midday really does, whether you do it consciously or not, but when you have a collection of fruit, you really are bringing in some of that color healing energy into you. In fruit, for example, the white can come from lychees. For example, it's sort of slightly translucent white. The inside of the apples, I mean, in India, there's so much waxing of apples that takes place that unfortunately it's not very healthy. And even when I tune in, it's not very healthy to eat the apple with the skin on. So we started peeling the skins. It's just a bit sad, but we do. So, you're getting a bit of the white there. The reds can come from the berries that you might choose to have. So you can create your own collection and selection of how you work with foods to harmonize your mechanical. Now, doing this, it is extremely important to bring in some exercises which help you tone your muscles. So for example, the breathing exercise I do, my breathing routine works on the toning of the muscles inside my body. various yoga practices that you can do. Pilates helps you with those, with the toning of various muscles. Doing weight training, all of that also serves. The whole stretching practice with the stretch bands, is really awesome. I can support you. There are times where I don't have stretch bands, so for my shoulders, which is extremely important for me to keep healthy and moving, I use, we have these, we call them dupatta, those Indian scarves that you wear with Indian tunics. I often use them as my stretch band equivalent. They don't stretch, so they're a little bit harder to work with. I just go only as far as my body feels, okay, this is non-violent still. And then I just hold it up and then take it all the way back, and back up, and variety of exercises I'm able to do with them. So find your own rhythm. Don't rush it. Don't rush it at all. But being consciously aware of this mechanical balance really helped me moving. All of that is fine. And if you don't move, like actually physically, walk or move forward or backwards, unless there's a very, very important reason why you're not able to, there is something very important that gets missed out. So even if for whatever reason you have an extended period of time that you have to be on a wheelchair, find a way in which you can move. Move in such a way that you can see a blending of different colors and vistas that are taking place. Because that exercises your eyes. You hear different sounds. Being consciously aware that you're actually going to utilize this activity to bring about a mechanical balance. Every experience that any of your physical organs have contributes to that mechanical balance. So yeah, you can go for a walk. You can stand and look at this amazing vista. And you can say to yourself, from this experience, I am actually enriching my mechanical balance. And see the impact that vista has on your body. See the impact that short walk will have on your physical body. Other ways of integrating color to heal yourself are in your choice of clothes. So the clothes you wear, and a really important part of supporting you with this color healing is your choice of underwear to wear. Because the underwear it's in the base chakra, which is all about forward movement and to achieve forward momentum. And it is where you connect directly to your sexual center. The sexual center is the center that gives birth to new cells. For women, that center lies in the region just around the cervix. And for men, it is at the root of the penis, the sexual center. We do confine sex to the act of sex, but actually it is the life force that gives birth to life. And it can be pleasurable through the act of sex, should you choose it to be, and it continues to perform its function of giving birth to life. And our cells are being born because cells are dying. Every single day we have several billions and billions of them go through the cycle of death and rebirth and birth. So the color of your underwear, it provides a phenomenal healing. So for example, if you're going to go into a difficult meeting and you want to really be in a state where the fear that you have had in the past about being in this situation or confronting this situation is no longer there, it would be great if you can find a yellow underwear and wear that. If you want to be really clear in your communication a blue one would do the trick. I got this healing power of the colors and how we can utilize it in the underwear that we wear very early on in my spiritual awakening journeys. Most of my underwear used to be black. So at that point, I was like, okay, oh no, I love black and I can't wear it anymore. Now that I know the power of black, it's all pretty cool. So you can really work with this. This is another way, very easy to integrate. So the mechanical, once you understand, the mechanical balance is all about the mechanics. I mean, the earth, by the way, we're going to talk about electrical balance in a moment. That is where it comes in. It directly impacts us in our mechanical balance. So let's look at, before I go to the next one, Sarah, is there anything any observation, anything you want to share or that might be coming up to ask? And is there anything in the chat that I haven't yet addressed?
Yeah, two things I wanted to just share about when your guidance is about keeping the exercise nonviolent. Would violent include, so Tai Chi would be a nonviolent form. And what about like Jitsu or any of those self-defense karate type? Would that be considered a violent form?
So you always look at what it's doing to you. Okay, your body communicates. My state is being violated. Stop. Your body does say that, right? So even when you're doing jiu-jitsu or judo training or any of these, and yes, the act is as if you're applying that aggression and violence to your opponent, right? But actually, it's it really brings you into complete alignment. Your center of gravity has to be in perfect alignment for you to get that perfect move that has that impact.
Right.
Right? You can use it for violence and then it's violent.
That's interesting because then since I had COVID, I know when I had the pain in my hamstrings for the last couple of years, now that's gone away. And I haven't wanted to do my Bikram yoga, which I absolutely love, as you know. I normally did it 4 or 5 times a week. And I suppose I felt when I was trying out some of the asanas without having gotten to the point where the pain in my body had alleviated, I would consider that now as a violent, even though I don't believe, I don't consider Bikram yoga violent, but the impact on my body and what my body was telling me, which is why I've stayed away from it for the moment or for the past 2 years, is because it was feeling harsh or there wasn't that flow. So that's interesting, that distinction. I didn't think about it because I never would have thought. Yeah. And also about colors, I became conscious of how I'm unaware of the healing possibilities of particular colors when I put them on or I don't put them on, or I eat and don't eat them. So I'm going to pay attention to that. It's fascinating.
Yeah. A couple of questions here. Are spices of many colors? And yes, spices have many colors. And remember, a lot of spices are also just brown, sort of browny color. They are about grounding. It's good to be grounded as much as it is to be superbly expanded. And different spices have got different healing abilities also, which actually are in the realm of chemical balance. I'm going to talk about some of the spices in that context in the moment. The significance of the colors, I think I've already covered that. So yes, let's move to the next one. Let's move to, can I lose track of time? We have 10 minutes left. And I thought mechanical balance was a short one. They only want me to do one session on this, Spirit does. So let's see. So electrical balance. Electrical balance is, it's really about zero volting yourself is where you get into a state of electrical balance. How do you zero volt yourself? And the easiest way is earthing. And if you're able to have at least 40 minutes of direct contact with the earth, could be grass, could be mud, that is hugely beneficial. I mean, even things like, growths, you can actually go in and adopt a earthing practice. And that could be going for a walk where you walk bare feet on the earth, if you can. Earthing mats are also really great. Will be great for you to also buy a voltmeter so that you can apply it. You can activate your mat in whichever way your mat is being shown to be activated. Like some of them you just put into a plug point. Others, you have to take the physical copper wire and connect it into the earth, taking it at least about over 1.5 feet into the earth. That is also something you can do. I can't do it in Dubai and places like that. It's impossible. So I just simply have the earthing mat, and my voltmeter shows it is 0 volt. Now, if you sleep on it and you have 7-8 hours of earthing, you're set. Earthing is mechanically, it has a direct impact on diminishing your growths of various kind. Tumors, or even cancers. Earthing plays a huge role. And we've got a series of sessions on in the circadian rhythm where I talk about electromagnetic balance. I also saw that these magnetic insoles that I have on my shoes, I have these stunning clothes that I wear, and my shoes are trainers. And they are quite, not that flattering trainers, but they have my magnetic insoles. So I don't care what they look like. I'm being earthed as I walk, and it's great. Absolutely important to earth. You're suffering from any aches and pains. Earth yourself with conscious awareness of getting the earth to take away that pain. What is this electrical balance doing? You know what it's doing? It's releasing electrons. That's what it's doing. Now, if you remember what we were taught in school, an atom has a nucleus, and nucleus has a proton and neutron in it, and it's surrounded by electrons, and the electrons are constantly moving. And we are vibrations. Every cell in our being is vibrating, and each cell has its own innate, healthy state of vibrations. Vibrations are created in the cells through the movement of electrons. So when you're depleted of electrons, your vibrational frequency becomes very muddled. And sometimes that is rectified through rapid growth of cells. And some of these cells can become the truant cells. And therefore you could have tumors or other cancerous growths that take place. It's an electron issue. So doing what you can, and it's free of charge, given to us free of charge. The fact that we are allowed to be inhabitants of this ship that we call the Earth ship, it is our container that provides us the safety and security to evolve and emerge and live our life. So Earth is where you go for electrical balance. Light, of course, helps you massively, because one thing that light does is it can take you off electrical balance. So making sure you know how to work with light, in the sense like, 2 hours before you go to bed, start diminishing it, bring that candle light in from time to time. All of that really helps. Sunlight, really, really important for both mechanical, chemical, as well as electrical balance. But the most direct impact is earth. Earthing. Find a way in which you can get access to an earthing mat. That is the best. You sleep on it for whatever, 6, 7, 8 hours, however long you sleep, you are set for the day. The interesting thing is, I think today we'll only be able to talk about these balances. There is an interplay that goes on between these balances, by the way. How you work with your electrical balance and the impact it has on chemical and mechanical, which I will cover in the next session. But at least let's get going with getting that balance back in. So earthing is the easiest way of achieving that balance.
Mynoo, can I ask you a quick question? Very
Yep.
quick. Are there different quality earthing mats? I've also have a company that sells earthing shoes, but are there different qualities, or we can trust?
That's why it's useful if you have access to a voltmeter. Because the moment you put a voltmeter, like if you want to know that your electricity is fine, you put the voltmeter and you know that, okay, the electricity isn't leaking. It can actually use the same voltmeter on the earthing mat, and it'll be 0 volt.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So like, I use the Niken magnetic insoles, and they don't get me down to complete 0 volt, but they get it quite low. So it's not enough, but it's pretty good. Okay. So for mechanical balance, work with earthing. That would be the easiest thing to do, and become conscious of not introducing light interferences in your life in such a way that it takes you off electrical balance. And what are those things? We have many gadgets that do that. So, your phones absolutely do that. Having, using grayscale on your phone from time to time. It could be several hours a day, or finding a way in which there's a way in which I track. I think my son set it up. I don't know what that system is called, but I track my phone usage. Before, I used to watch all my videos on here. I don't actually have to do that. I can watch it on my computer. I don't have to watch all my videos on my phone. It's very hard, very, very harsh in terms of getting you out of electrical balance. It has a direct impact on the movement. Having excessive electrons and not having enough, and has a direct impact on the electrons that you do have and the movement of those, which has a direct impact on the movement of life force through your body, which has a direct impact on how your flow systems are able to or not able to move. Chemical balance. Chemical balance has a direct impact on our endocrine system, on our hormonal balance, on our desires to feel like binge eating or binging on anything, any form of addictive behavior. It's usually chemical balance. often begins with mechanical, can very readily and easily be rectified with electrical. Chemical balance is like you've really ignored many, 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 many symptoms to get to that chemical imbalance. Yes, pollutants have a direct impact on chemical balance also. Your mental state, direct impact on chemical balance. The funny thing is, I thought emotional would, and emotional doesn't. Your mental state, overthinking, overanalyzing, and then, getting very, very stuck on a particular way of doing things can have a direct impact on chemical balance as well. How do you address the chemical balance? Water plays a very big role, very big role. Water as an archangel, as a master healer that is there in our midst. It is a carrier of the seed of life. Having water, by blessing it before you ingest it, having water that you might have put to be with the sunlight for a period of hours makes a huge difference. And having it a sip at a time, noticing how it's connected, going down your digestive tract, with awareness, feeling that connection, that gut connection that takes place, reconnects you to your inner wisdom, brings you back into your center. A lot of the chemical balancing takes place. Sunlight plays a massive role in bringing that chemical balance in, that sun gazing in that early sunrise or post sun, just before the sun completely sets, and really allowing yourself to feed yourself with it makes a huge difference. Being aware of the foods that you're eating, blessing your foods, allowing the chemistry of whatever it is that you're eating makes a huge difference. So, for example, nitrous oxide is really important for our body. When you have fruits by themselves, they're very rich in nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is really important for our metabolic system, for our metabolism, getting that balance in. Having first thing in the morning, some of you who might have heard me talk about the regime that I have started following. The first thing in the morning, having a few pieces of ginger, a few pieces of raw turmeric, and a few black pepper. Ginger, what does ginger do? Nitrous oxide. It literally awakens your system with nitrous oxide. So movement begins, a rhythm sets in. It's all about chemical balance. And we're doing it through something very, very mechanical, that is food. So these three labels, chemical, electrical, and mechanical, and the balance, getting each of these into balance is this vibrant vitality triangle. And you can put yourself in the center of it, then you become the one that each of these labels magnetize and focus their blessings on you, and you harmonize within yourself. And your human form reclaims the fullness of its presence as your own personal miracle generating machine. We will do in the next session how these different balances actually correlate and support one another so that you can actually harmonize that balancing journey itself. Over to you, Sarah, to conclude the session.
Wow, it's brilliant. As I had shared with you earlier before the call, I was sure that this download was going to bring new information for all of us. I love it. I'm very excited about it, and already excited about our next session. Thank you very much. I've never considered this triangle before, breaking it down into chemical, mechanical, and electrical. So it brings some clarity along with a very new, I think, more than modern approach to our vibrant vitality. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk more about some specific things you can do in both electrical as well as in the chemical balancing, and how you work with water in the chemical balancing, where you use the organ of your skin. The skin, like I talk about, you have your brain, you have your heart brain, and you have your gut brain. We have 3 brains. We certainly have 2, we have 3 kidneys. 2 that as kidneys, and skin is the 3rd kidney as well. Working with water and gravity allows that kidney function to happen. It's pretty awesome, brings about chemical balance. So I'll talk more about that next time. But thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know. I know.
Okay.